It's your boy Yul.
I'm Margaret.
And this is another episode of Can We Talk About It?
And this month, being March, we are highlighting some very accomplished women that we know for Women's History Month. And today we have Thalia Pignanelli, or acting name Thalia Romina. And she's here with us today to talk about her career as a working actress. Not many people can claim that, especially in this current pandemic.
Yeah.
Not to shit on y'all. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so my first question for you is basically, what age did you realize you wanted to be an actress and why? And then kind of just take us through your journey from that point until where you're at now.
So ever since I can remember, I wanted to be an actor. I allegedly was named after Thalia Romina, who was a very famous Mexican actress and singer who is now married to Tommy Mottola, actually. And we used to watch her soap operas, and I had all her CDs, back when CDs were a thing. So I always felt like I wanted to do that. I was like, wow, she has my name, and I want to do exactly what she's doing. And it's never really wavered from that. So I begged my parents to put me in acting classes in the 6th grade, and I did. I started taking acting classes, and my teacher told me about this performance high school that was nicknamed the Fame School. And I was like, I really want to audition. And my parents were like, you need to get into a specialized science high school. And if you get into one of those and you get into both, then you can choose the acting. If not, you're going to go to one of those. So I ended up getting into Bronx Science and LaGuardia High School. I went there for drama. I did have briefly a commercial agent, but my parents weren't really invested in me going, and they had to drive me to auditions and things like that. And frankly, they weren't really super supportive. So I just kind of dropped that and started doing started working in high school, doing auditions here and there that you'd hear about, but nothing crazy. Then I auditioned for college. I got into NYU's Tisch School of the Arts program with the concentration in experimental theater. And I then would try to find as many auditions as I can until eventually I got represented. And then it wasn't until I got into the voiceover game that I really kind of started giving myself a play-by-play of how I wanted my career to go, and manifesting, praying, and actively working towards specific goals that I had in mind until now, age 27.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a very fascinating story. I like that. I didn't know half of that about you.
Oh, really?
Just now, so that's very cool.
Well, there you go. I was like, am I speaking too fast? Maybe.
No,
that's good because we're on the clock. No.
What's the biggest challenge you've faced as an actor, and what's the most rewarding part of acting for you?
The biggest challenge that comes to mind, I was doing a show out in Nebraska, and we were a small cast, and we were doing theater for change. In other words, where you perform for people that can make a difference in their field, and we were addressing issues within the state, teenage pregnancy and youth mass incarceration within our communities of color, and kind of speaking to that knowledge. It was documentary theater, so it was based on real people's lives, and making a performance, creating it a cohesive kind of message for people that can make a difference in that field, in that area.
And not to interrupt you, but can you explain for people what documentary theater is, if they've never heard that term before?
Thank you. So documentary theater is basically when you take real life accounts of people's lives, an aspect of their life, and you usually either record it, and then when you perform a cohesive text, it is the exact things that they said, with names changed, places, age, whatever you do to protect that person. But it's things as they happened, where they happened or how they happened, and then reenactments that reflect the authors, if you will's experiences. So that's what documentary theater is. So there's no kind of the magic in that is within the core of the reality of what was happening, as opposed to a drama that was made up, So when we did that, I was working with a partner who was very, very difficult to work with, and I didn't feel supported in a lot of ways because I was working with someone so difficult.
That's how me and Margaret.
Yeah, it's so hard with you guys, right?
Yeah, I remember that guy. I remember you telling me about that experience. And he was a fucking dick.
Yeah, he was a dick.
And what's crazy? I just so can relate.
What's his name? Joking.
No. We're not gonna have you burn any bridges yet. That comes later in the interview.
I will.
Go
No,
ahead.
he's funny because after the fact, he did reach out to me and I curved him. Because I was like, I'm not
We don't
gonna
accept apologies right here.
Yeah. Also, I was. It's funny because I was I was so forced to be his friend. We lived together. We worked together, and he was not only unprofessional, but like just had a lot going on, and made it. It was frankly mortifying sometimes, humiliating to work with someone who like had no respect for the craft or for your for the partner, and went out of his way to make you feel bad because of how they felt. And I get hurt people, but like it was just like. He was very jealous also because most of us were trained. He wasn't. He had had a very difficult life growing up. But like that's not an excuse when you're like getting paid to do something and like.
And this
whatever.
is like, he was white, right?
He was white.
So this is like, you're doing documentary theater about communities of color, and then he was the one
He was the token white guy. The token white guy, so he played the cop, he played like, you know what I'm saying? He was the token white guy, and on top of
Played
that,
the cop.
So maybe he created that animosity on purpose so that you guys could have that tension.
yeah, he was method. He was
Yeah.
method. He was
Ah,
method.
yeah, for sure.
acting. Yeah, very Jared Leto.
He was a tall king. And he was just, it was a lot. And that was really hard for me because I had never encountered someone who didn't yes and me when I was working with them.
Can you also explain what that is?
Oh yeah, I'm like just
throwing out the theater term.
Yeah, I'm like this, that, da, 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 so I was on stage or whatever and what haves. So basically, a yes and is like basically you're working with someone, especially with documentary theater with sensitive subjects and there's some improv involved because you have to explain what the text is, what was going on, and like and sometimes you just have to show it, not like say it.
Yeah, so ad lib like a line or a movement or
Right,
something.
or a movement or like whatever.
Yeah.
Create, and the thing about documentary theater is that if there is no ensemble closeness, if you guys are not cool with your workers, like with your coworkers, it won't work. Like it'll be too boring. So like, when you're working with someone like that, then you need to kind of. If someone throws out an idea, you flesh that idea out, and then you both come to the general consensus that it doesn't work if it doesn't, and then you move on. So yes and is the concept of like, you throw something at me, I'm gonna go yes, and then yes, and then that's like the idea behind it, yes and.
Yeah, okay.
So he was not like that at all, and of course I had most of my scenes with him, so I bared the brunt of it, and I was like, yo, seriously, like. I can't deal with it. Like we would fight in rehearsal all the time, and I would be in my room, like literally, like at one point I'd be like so upset, crying, and being like, "What am I gonna do? Like I've never worked with someone. It's so hard to work with this person." And on top of that, I can't just go home. I have to live with him. And I'm not saying all of it was bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's just a troubled soul or whatever. But because we did have a lot of good times and chemistry in a lot of ways, but it was just like it was really, really difficult, and I just had to suck it up and like find ways to compartmentalize and do what was best for me in that moment. But the minute that show was over, like I think I saw him one other time and it was like friendly, and then after that I was like, I don't ever want to see you again. Like I don't want to deal with you again. You ruined it for me.
What was the most rewarding part of acting for you?
Most rewarding. Well, definitely be Agua Vida y Tierra. It was the last theater show that I did before the pandemic hit. It's based on Hurricane Maria, which happened in Puerto Rico a couple of years ago, and the aftermath of that, and just all the kind of political and financial baggage that came with that, and the kind of, rhapsody of issues that Puerto Rico has with the United States, being colonized by Spain, and then after the United States, and the erasure of their culture. But it was, like I said, documentary theater, and my parents actually, they don't come to my shows often necessarily, but they don't see me perform in things that directly speak to them as Latinos. So for them to feel so identified and to feel like their stories were being put and even though my parents are not Puerto Rican, I am not Puerto Rican. My mother's from the Dominican Republic and my father's from Argentina. But they felt so akin. They felt like they were watching something. They felt seen. And as people who are not connected to the theater world whatsoever, let alone the acting world, to feel like moved by that and to feel changed, even their outlook for Puerto Rican people, like the way they view their situation was really rewarding for me. It was a personal reward to be able to feel like I made a difference in their lives by them seeing my work.
Wow, man, that's awesome. I like both sides of that, because even with the negative, like I feel like, when you're working with someone super difficult, that it just like kind of teaches you like, lessons that you just.
Oh, I'm so glad I went through that.
Yeah. Because now, like,
Yeah.
whenever that comes, you have to work with someone difficult. It's like, I know this, like I have now a standard for like working with someone
It
difficult.
is truly a lesson.
If you're watching this. No, it definitely is a lesson, and I feel like I don't think I handled it initially. I don't think I handled it well. And then I was like kind of meeting resistance with resistance when I realized that I cannot meet resistance with resistance. Like that wasn't gonna work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to kind of like acquiesce like my, for lack of a better word, power, and to be like more work with stealth as opposed to like imposing myself on it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, like even in your acting, I think it's also kind of awesome and rewarding that you feel like your work has value, and that's super cool as well. So.
Yeah. So, kind of talking a little bit just about the technical aspect of it. Do you have a preferred methodology, so like Meisner or method acting or Stanislavski? That one. And do you have a preferred medium between like film and TV versus theater versus voiceover? Because you've done all of them. So,
I definitely love theater. I think it's the most rewarding. I honestly don't feel like I've done the most amount of film and TV enough to like really speak on that. The end game for me is TV. I'm gonna be on TV no matter what. Like I'm putting it on the record right now. Like I know I'm gonna make a living off of that, and I'm gonna feed my kids with that, and I'm gonna pay for their trust funds with that. Like
she's for her eggs. You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly. It's happening. I know that, but so I feel like I feel a little bit like duplicitous saying that film and TV is not as rewarding when I haven't actually experienced that much in that world compared to maybe theater or voiceover. But I do think that theater is the most rewarding because it's happening in real time, and like that's it. As they say, the show must go on. Like bring out the clowns. What is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, whatever. That.
Send in the clowns.
She was like,
yeah, that one too.
Send in the clowns. Yeah. Whatever that is. Like you got to do it. Like there's no if push comes to shove or like if shit hits the fan, you still gotta like whatever. So I love that kind of excitement behind it. But of course, there's less money involved in theater. Right. There's more disorganization involved in theater. And I do need cheese for my egg. With regards to method, I don't work with one specific method. It really depends on what speaks to me in the part. Actually, Cicely Tyson, in her memoir, which I'm currently reading, says that if she reads a script, or rest her soul, when she read a script, that if it didn't speak to her, if it didn't like jump at her, if she didn't feel it in her veins, like she wasn't gonna do it. If it felt too much, like she just kind of went with her gut. She wasn't like, is this good or bad for my career? She's very like kind of spiritually led with that. So that's kind of where the spirit guides me. Yeah. So if I feel like Meisner's good for creating scene partner work, if I feel like I need to dip into my memories and like recall something that allows me to kind of bring this character to life, or if I feel like I'm working from the outside in other words, like having a physical manifestation of the character and then having that inform my emotional availability for the character, then I will do that. So I will use kind of a potpourri of all of them.
What has been your favorite show performance experience in general, and your worst, and why?
You don't gotta name names, but if you want to make it juicy, you can.
We're gonna tag them. So.
Okay, tag their handles in the mentions. Okay, so my favorite, I don't have one. Oh well, okay. So I did a web series called Barely Adults a couple of years ago, and I worked pretty much exclusively with women of color. It was mostly an all-female, not only like behind the scenes cast and crew. All of us were from like different shades, different experiences. I was working with Amber Avant, shout out to Amber, and Giovanni, Nanderthorpe. We had Gio, and Amber and I had a really great time together. And it was the closest, it was a web series. It got a lot of accolades and like the kind of the indie route. And I had a lot of fun playing a more extreme version of myself. So it was just great to work with such empowering women. Like it was rewarding and unusual. So I like that, and it was also very organized. I'm not saying like shit didn't go left sometimes, because it happens, but everything was just like on the book. And I always felt appreciated, heard, listened to. It was really great. So that was probably one of my more rewarding experiences. But I feel like, and that wasn't theater. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like everything depends on what I guess everything, it was like apples and oranges to me a little bit, but I'll pick that one. And then the worst one, so these people, like, it was like a student film. I was trying to create more content. Oh wait, I'm gonna be juicy. So I was creating my own content.
Let's more, girl.
I was creating my own content, right? And I was dating this guy who was in the crew world. And
we were in this together.
We did, and he and so we ceased engaging. We ceased dating. We were dating, but we
ceased engaging is hilarious.
I asked him, I was like, do you feel comfortable still working with me? It's probably not a good idea. And he said, absolutely. It was an enthusiastic yes. He was like, I have no issues. We can make it work. I know it's probably a bad idea, but we'll make it work. He was, mind you, over 10 years older than me. And I thought, okay. And he's a very talented person. I think he will make it far in life. He's a little too cocky for his own good, but I do think that he's a very talented person. Like, I said one thing, I'm gonna say the other. Like, he was like not a smart partner. He didn't make the best choices when it came to our relationship, but he's very, very like talented in his field and knows a lot about it. And then we commenced the shooting and all that, and he was horrible. He was so...
No, first account, it was fucking awkward. He made it weird.
He made it weird, and he would not give me the footage. He like refused to give me the footage. For months, I was like, I don't get it. Like, we came to this mutual ending.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were feeling slighted. Like, it wasn't like I like was like, you know, I don't feel like I broke up with him, and it was like a mutual thing. So I was like, what gives? Like, why are you being so crazy right now? He was like acting brand new for the weirdest reason. And I was like, because I'm not fucking you anymore? Like, what?
Yes.
And
that's what changed.
And literally it just went really sour from there. Like, after he finally gave me the footage, I told him to fuck right off. Like, she can attest to that. Yeah. You know when you like go on like Twitter, on TikTok, and you see like the paragraphs? It was like, I sent him one of those. It was concise, but I was like, man, you are so unprofessional. I hate you.
That's fair.
But he deserved it.
He deserved it.
He
just made it complicated.
He was also straight up like rude to her on the set, which was awkward because he was directing us. So it'd be like he would give like me like a regular like director direction, and then he'd be like, why are you being so fucking I was like,
spicy. Like, yeah, so basically when you ask him initially, like, oh, are you still okay doing this? He was just fuming like, yeah, I'm okay doing this. You gonna find out.
Like, you gotta know.
I'm about to make your life difficult.
Yeah. And it was just crazy to me, and I was that was wild. That was wild. But I hope he's changed. I hope.
We wish him well.
I don't wish him well. I don't wish my ex as well.
I don't know who we is. I didn't say anything. I don't know this man.
We'll move on to the next question.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So
I don't wish him ill either, though. Okay.
As a woman, you know, you're a woman, you're a Latina. Sure. These are two communities that traditionally have not been represented well in film. So I just wonder, are there certain roles that you would never take under any circumstances because you feel like they would reinforce certain stereotypes? And like, to what extent does representation matter to you in terms of picking jobs, you know?
I'm of the creed that you got to make the mold before you break it, and that like when someone's poor and is trying to make money off of their art, that their convictions will be sacrificed. I think that saying yes to no is a privilege. And that if there are a lot, especially people that who are criticized that they played maybe stereotypical parts or characters early on in their career, I understand that, because I'm like, if you're trying to get paid and you're trying to advance, unfortunately this is just the way the world is. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it's just how it is, and you have to take advantage of this capitalistic mindset in order for you to get cheese for your eggs. So like I will preface by saying that, and then I feel like if it doesn't feel right, then it isn't right. If I cannot make a good case for it and feel okay with it, then I can't do it. Like, if my spirit, if it's just not right with me, then I won't do it. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I have said no to projects that I did not feel comfortable doing. I could just give one. Can I give an example?
Yeah.
There was a political campaign that was going on for voiceover, and my agents asked me if I felt comfortable recording, because it was down to the wire, and I was like it was gonna be either me and some other person, and it was a political view that I felt very strongly against.
And they wanted you for Latinos for Trump?
Yeah, something like that. Actually.
Oh my
I don't know. It wasn't disclosed, and I said I couldn't do it. And it was a lot of bread. But I was like, I jokingly said to my agent, if they could pay off my loans, I'll think about it. Because I have a whole lot of money.
They could pay off your loans. And then you have to think about it.
No, it wasn't that much money because I do owe like an insane amount of money in student loans. But I was like, it didn't feel right with me, so I couldn't do it. So like, no. But if it's like, if I'm playing like Janessa Rodriguez from the Bronx, like who's got like 3 baby daddies and is arguing for a welfare check, like I just thought of the most stereotypical thing you could think of.
There we go. Yeah.
And,
you said it, not us.
Who's undocumented. I would do it if I felt like it's telling a true story, because that is a part of my reality. That is a part of our reality. So, but if I felt like it was comical or like comically wrong or at the expense of like something that wouldn't add to the canon and it just didn't feel right with my spirit, then I would say no. But I will play a drug dealer's baby mama though. I just have to say.
I was just about to say like, it's that's such a good point, because like, playing drug dealer number 1 in a documentary about drug dealing is like, okay, fine. But when it's just like, oh yeah, we want you to do this, paint this image and like be something that you're not, is definitely.
And I have friends and colleagues who won't. Like I've had conversations like my like Latina colleagues who have been like, I'm not doing that. Like who will tell their agents, do not send me out for Law and Order's like, gangster bitch number 3. I'm not gonna do it. And I respect that.
I feel that.
But that's not how we're on.
But I see your perspective, and it's also like, these are members of our community. These are realities.
They're people.
And someone's gonna play that part, and if you feel you can bring humanity to that role and respect, then, there's degrees, obviously. You're not gonna be like, looking at you like anyone who's in a Tyler Perry movie, but just kidding, I'm kidding. Anyway, let's keep going.
Bad wigs coming soon. Cool. What are you up to now? What are your goals for the future? And what advice can you give for anyone else pursuing over voice acting or acting in general?
Sure. Where am I at now? So I make the bulk of my money in voiceover. I do mostly commercials. I do some animation. What else other than animation? What is there? I guess podcasts are now the new thing. Like, and I mean like thriller podcasts, like radio plays, things like that. Yeah. I don't do much of that. I do, like I said, I make my money in commercials or whatever. But so that's what I'm up to. I'm actually re-recording. I'm using. They're using the client, which is Google Chromebook. They have some revisions for a campaign that I did for them earlier, so I'll be working on that next week. So that's where that's my bread and butter. I am creating content on TikTok. I gotta get with it. You know what I'm saying? If Gen Z, that's where they want to go. If they want to put their trauma out there, then we gotta do what we gotta do. So I am creating my own content and like sound bites, whereas before I think I was focusing on creating my own content like long form. By long form I mean like 5 minutes, not even like actual long form. My goals are to be on TV. I want to work recurring series regular in TV, ideally in New York. If not, that's okay. I really want to be on Billions. Billions, if you're listening, please put me
They watch. They're actually regular subscribers of ours. So.
We're really tight knit with them. So
seriously,
we'll put in a word for you.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to be on that show so bad. It's like one of my favorite shows on TV right now. So those are my goals, just to be on TV. Like I have my agents for film and TV, for voiceover. Now, just please, TV, baby. That's the way to go.
Billions.
Yeah.
Billions.
Stop playing.
I'm gonna at them. Everybody subscribe. At them.
At them.
Billions.
Tell
Seriously.
Billions. Look at what you're missing out on. All right.
I will play. Actually, I'm not even gonna.
We'll play.
If you see the show, you'll know what I mean. I'm not gonna do it.
So you actually have a voiceover studio in your don't play yourself. No, I was making it legit.
Yeah, a studio.
You have a voiceover studio in your house, so you're gonna show that to us.
Right? I am gonna show that to you guys.
Okay, cool. We're gonna check it out.
It's spacious. It's top of the art. Here it is.
Where is it? Oh my God!
This is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens, baby. literally where I work, and behind there is my travel case. So when I travel, I bring my equipment with me and I record from that bag in there. Literally. So that's the microphone, that's the phone panels, that's some sides. After this, I have an audition I need to work on. In voiceover, that's like the sound thing, software.
Get in here.
And the laptop isn't in here, but
Oh,
yes.
no,
it's
I'm not getting in here.
I
Not-
have it.
No.
I fit.
You fit? Let's see it. Let's see it, Margaret. I have a question about the mic.
Sure.
Is that a sock?
That is a sock because because the popper I have. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't been able to. Where's my popper?
What is the popper?
The popper here is supposed to any like plosives or anything you're supposed to use. So it goes here, but I have the wrong size, so I just use a sock instead.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's
Guess how much
awesome.
this costs? This whole setup.
Tell us. $4,000.
No, total with the travel thing too is a little less than a G.
Oh, well, look at that. For
That's-
less than a G, you can create your own studio.
Well, yeah, most of my friends.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, most of my friends that are like that work have better setups spend upwards of 5 Gs.
But this does work. You know, she's booking
ain't
professional
broke,
auditions
don't
from
fix it.
closet.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever. You know what I mean?
Wow, this is a tale of triumph, honestly.
Seriously.
Even if you live in a studio apartment, you can find a little bit of space in the corner somewhere to make
In
your
the
dreams
closet.
come true.
In the closet.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Thanks.
thank you guys.